So, very good morning to one and all. So, today we are going to see the next geometric design element of highway, which is called as the horizontal alignment. So, you remember, right? We had seen so this module we were seeing about the different geometric design elements of the highway, right? So, in that we had seen already the cross-sectional elements is over. Then the second cross-sectional element was second geometric design element was the side distance. Now third, which we are going to see here, is nothing but the horizontal alignment. Okay, so why we are providing this horizontal curves or horizontal alignment? What is the purpose of providing that? So mainly to provide a change in direction, correct? Mainly to provide a change in direction. So you are coming on a straight approach road. If you want to take a turn, you are just going to provide a change in direction with respect to the center line of the road, right? So when you're going to so I'll just tell the horizontal curve generally it consists of, you can see this is the curve, right? You can see the curve. On either side of the curve you have the straight road or the approach road, okay, which we just generally call it as the tangent. Okay, so you have the tangent or the straight roads on either side of the curve. Then you'll have the circular curve here, horizontal curve in between the tangents. Okay, so now one more thing which I want to stress here is, see, suppose if you are the driver and if you are coming from this direction, so you can see my mouse, right? My mouse arrow. So you are coming from this direction and you are traversing this horizontal curve. So when you are moving in this direction, which is the outer side of the curve, this is the outer end of the horizontal curve. And which is the inner side of the curve, this will be the inner side. So inner side will be the center of the center line, almost the center line or the median, correct? And what happens when you are traversing from this direction? From this direction, I'm sorry. From this direction, you are just taking a turn. So now when you're traversing this horizontal curve, which is the inner side and which is the outer side? Okay, when you're taking that curve, this will be the inner side and this will be the outer side of the curve. So that's what I just want you to understand. Okay, so just have in mind this concept because we will be discussing this when you're going to learn the super elevation. Okay, so when you're traversing the curve, remember this is the outer side of the horizontal curve and this is the inner side. Okay, so yes, next we are going to see is the design elements of the horizontal alignment. Okay, very very important. You have different design elements when you're going to construct or when you're going to design the horizontal curves. You are expected to design the following elements, that is, one is the speed, then you have the radius. You should know what should be the radius of this horizontal curve, right? Yeah, then you have the super elevation, which is also called as the cant or the banking. Then you have the widening of the pavement width. Then you have the transition curves. So I'll tell you what it is. Then you have the setback distance and curve resistance. For each of these design elements, you will be having the derivation and the numericals. So that's why told this is a very very important module. Okay, so this is the horizontal curve. So that is a general introduction about the horizontal curve. We can see here we are coming from the approach road, a straight road, and you can see the signs here. So they have given the sign indicating that there is a horizontal curve ahead. There is a change in direction ahead. Understood? So we'll move on to the design elements. Okay, so first one is the design speed. So if I tell about the design speed, you know all the geometric design elements like side distance, radius, horizontal curve, horizontal vertical alignment, everything is dependent upon this speed. Okay, so generally the design speed of the road is classified into, mainly it depends upon two types. So one is the based on the, so generally it is this design speed, if I take, it mainly depends upon, one is the class of roads. So how, the classification of roads. How will you classify the roads into, you have studied, right? We have studied in module 1, like national highways, state highways, MDR, ODR and VR. And also the second category is terrain. Okay, so the design speed mainly depends upon the classification of roads and the terrain. If I tell terrain, under terrain, what it will come? It will come like plain terrain, whether it is a plain terrain and whether it is a rolling terrain. You know what is a rolling terrain, right? That is, you will have ups and downs. Like you have, what to say, the slopes will be varying. Then you have the mountainous terrain or the hilly terrain. You know what it is. Okay, so design speed mainly depends upon these both. Okay, and if I say design speed, there are two values of design speeds are considered when you're going for the construction of a road. Okay, so one is called as the ruling speed. That is the ruling design speed, and the other is called as the minimum design speed. So ruling design speed, generally we say it is a maximum speed, or it's not maximum speed. Like how we can tell is all the geometric elements will be designed based on this speed. Like almost all the geometric elements, if I say you have studied the geometric elements of a highway, right? The road, the alignment, whatever it is, horizontal curve. So all the geometric design elements, mostly it will be designed based on this ruling design speed. So generally we take it as the maximum speed. Okay, if I take the other category is nothing but the minimum design speed. So generally this minimum design speed, it will be mainly provided based on the site conditions. Okay, so whatever the availability of the site, how the terrain is, based on all those things, the speed will be restricted, right? So based on that, there will be something called as a minimum design speed. Understood? For example, if I take national highway, you can see. So if I tell what is a ruling and what is a minimum speed there, if I tell ruling speed, so that national highway road, I mean highway, that will be designed for a 100 kilometer per hour speed. Okay, so that will be the ruling speed. But if I say based on the site conditions, based on the other any factors are there, the minimum speed with which the driver can travel on that national highway will be 80 km per hour. Got it? So that is called as the design speed and the minimum design speed. Okay. So two values of the design speed are generally taken into account. One is the ruling design speed and the minimum design speed. Okay. Then you have the next type, that is nothing but so yeah. So when we are going to discuss about this, now you understood what is horizontal curve, right? It's just to give a change in direction when you're traveling. Okay, so what happens when a vehicle is traveling along this horizontal curve? What happens to the vehicle? Okay, so when the vehicle will be coming along the straight portion and suddenly it has to take a turn, right? It has to traverse this circular curve. So what will happen? Have you learned about the centrifugal force? Centrifugal force is nothing but the force which is acting on a body moving in a circular path. Okay, and mainly it will act outwards from the center of the body. Okay, so when the vehicle is traversing this particular horizontal curve, what happens? There is something called as a centrifugal force acting outwards. So, see, imagine a vehicle is moving along this road, and the vehicle has to take a turn along this circular curve, right? So what happens is that the centrifugal which is acting on the body, I mean on the vehicle, it will tend it will tend to pull the vehicle outwards to the curve, outwards. Okay, so through the center of gravity of the vehicle, that is mainly, as I said, centrifugal force is nothing but it acts on this. It is a force which is acting on a body moving in a circular path. Okay, and it tends to pull this vehicle outwards. Okay, so now what happens is that there is something called as a frictional force in the vehicle, right? Frictional force is the force which is developed between the tires and the pavement surface, correct? So this force tends to counteract that centrifugal force. So centrifugal force is generally counteracted by the frictional force. So what will happen? So there is a centrifugal force which is making the vehicle to push outside, but the frictional force, what does it do? It tends to pull the vehicle inside. So it is counteracted, or it is called as balanced. Okay, so now we'll just see the, yes, expression for this centrifugal force. You can see the screen, right? So centrifugal force is generally given as in this for this, I mean in this subject, the centrifugal force is expressed in it is denoted by the variable capital P. Okay, and the expression will be WV square by GR. So what is P? That will be the centrifugal force in kg. W will be the weight of the vehicle, kg. R will be the radius of the horizontal curve, or we call it as a circular curve, okay, in meters. And here I have indicated it as small v. So it will be the speed of the vehicle in meter per second, and g is the acceleration due to gravity in meter per second square. Got it? So this is the centrifugal force expression. So as I said, whenever, even if you travel, if you traverse through a horizontal curve, you feel this. You feel as though some force is making you to push outside, pushing the vehicle outside. So what will happen? This is what opposed by the frictional force. So when the centrifugal force tends to pull the vehicle outside, the frictional force tends to pull the vehicle inside. So both is contracted or balanced. Okay. Now you can see the expression for centrifugal ratio, or which is called as the impact factor. So centrifugal ratio, or the impact factor, it's nothing but the centrifugal force, ratio of the centrifugal force to the weight of the vehicle. So you just bring down this W this side. Okay. So the expression is V square by GR. Got it? Very, very important. So centrifugal force expression is WV square by GR. Centrifugal ratio, or the impact factor, is P by W, which is V square by GR. Understood? So this is the expression. Now we'll see the analysis. So generally the effects of the centrifugal force is nothing but it makes the vehicle to topple or overturn. Okay, and also it can also cause skidding also. It can, we have studied, right, when we discussed about the friction, we had studied the lateral and the longitudinal skidding. So skidding also can happen also. So in this case, when you can see here, as I told here, when the vehicle is traversing the horizontal curve, what happens? The centrifugal force is making the vehicle to push outside. So skidding can happen laterally. The movement of the vehicle is happening laterally, not longitudinally. That is very, very important. Okay. So we'll see the analysis now. So you can see here. So two effects of centrifugal force is nothing but the overturning and the skidding. Now there is a small analysis for this overturning and skidding. So we are going to analyze the stability of the vehicle. Okay. So the first one we are going to discuss is nothing but the overturning effect. So why I have written it without super elevation is that as of now we are not going to take into account the super elevation. It's just a plain road, plain curve. Okay. Super elevation has not been provided, so we'll come to that. I will tell you, because of this overturning and skidding effect happening due to the centrifugal force, we are going to provide the super elevation. Okay, so I'll discuss that in detail. Now as of now, the analysis of stability we are going to discuss is for first case is overturning or the toppling of the vehicle. Okay, so now you can see here I've just drawn the vehicle here. You can see, okay, CG represents the center of gravity of the vehicle. Okay, then P represents the, so what you have to imagine here is the vehicle is on the curve, on the horizontal curve. So you can see here I've told you to remember, right? This is the inner side of the curve, this is the outer side of the curve. For example, if I tell, I'll just zoom this. You can see here the vehicle is now present on this curve. So this is the outer edge, this is the inner edge. So centrifugal force makes this vehicle to pull outwards. Okay, so yes. So now you can, that's what I have written it here. This is the inner side of the curve, horizontal curve, and this is the outer side of the horizontal curve. You can see here, right? So now at present the vehicle is standing on the curve. Now what is happening? The centrifugal force P. Remember, capital P is centrifugal force. It tends to pull the vehicle outside the curve, right? So yeah, that is what is the concept here. Okay, now you know the the self weight of the vehicle is W. Okay, and H is nothing but the height of the center of gravity of the vehicle above the road surface. So from the road surface up to the center of gravity of the vehicle, We just call it as some height h. And small b, you can see the b here. B I have marked center to center of the wheels. So it's nothing but the width of the wheelbase or width of the wheels. Okay, we generally take it as small b, that is nothing but the width of the wheels. So I have just divided based on the center of gravity, I have divided into half. So b by 2 and b by 2 on either sides. Okay, hope you understood this. So as I've told you, whatever I've told you, I've written it here. It's the height of the center of gravity of the vehicle above the road surface height, and b is nothing but the width of the wheels. Now, centrifugal force, it, yeah, you know, right? When what is happening? The centrifugal force is making the vehicle to pull outwards. So we are going to calculate the overturning moment due to the centrifugal force. Okay, overturning moment means the vehicle is tending to overturn towards this side, towards the outer side of the horizontal curve, right? So what will be the moment? What is moment? You would have studied in your mechanics, right? What is moment? Force times the perpendicular distance, that is called as moment, correct? So this is the force, you know, the centrifugal force. It is pulling outside I mean it is pulling the vehicle outside. So what is happening? The vehicle is tending to overturn towards the outer side of the horizontal curve. What will be the perpendicular distance to it? It will be the small h. So p times h will give the overturning moment. You can see here, that's what I've written it here. Okay, now there is something called as a restoring moment in this case. So the restoring moment will be nothing but it will be again for, so when the vehicle is move I mean it is the centrifugal force is pulling the vehicle towards the outer side of the curve. So now there is a restoring moment to bring back the vehicle to its original position. So that will be the W, that means this W times the perpendicular distance. So what will be that? The self weight, okay, W times, that is the, I mean the force times the perpendicular distance. So that is nothing but the self weight times, what is the perpendicular distance here? It is B by 2. So that is the restoring moment. That's what it is shown by equation 2. Now we are going to equate 1 and 2. Okay, so you know equation 1 is P times H, equation 2 is W times B by 2. What you're going to do? Equate, and you remember I told you the impact factor of the centrifugal ratio. So I'm just bringing this W towards my left hand side such that my left hand side becomes P by W, which is the impact factor of the centrifugal ratio. Okay, and yes, you can see here as I've written here, there is a danger of overturning when the centrifugal ratio attains the value of B by 2H. What does that mean? When P by W is equal to B by 2H, there is a danger of overturning of the vehicle. So what must be the condition? The condition must be P by W, it must be lesser than this B by 2H. The overturning moment should be less than the restoring moment. That is the case. Now coming to the second scenario, that is nothing but the transverse skidding. I told you, right? Skidding happens. So see, the way when skidding happens in the curve, the vehicle is going to move laterally and not longitudinally. Okay, so that's why specifically I've written it here, the transverse skidding effect. So again, what I've drawn the vehicle here. Okay, you can see the self weight of the vehicle is W. You can see the centrifugal force P, capital P, and this is the inner side of the curve, I mean outer side of the curve. Okay, at present the vehicle is standing on the curve. So what happens when there is a transverse skidding happening? Okay, the vehicle is tend to move outside the curve, right? Also because of the, that is mainly because of the centrifugal force. Okay, when the centrifugal force is making the vehicle to I mean when it is pulling the vehicle, I mean pulling the vehicle towards outside, skidding also can happen. At the same time, overturning also can happen. Okay, so at this scenario we are going to discuss about the skidding. So the vehicle is tend to skid towards the outer side of the curve. So now what will happen about the frictional force? Now it will act against the direction of motion of the vehicle. So motion of the vehicle, I mean the skidding happens towards the outer side. Frictional force for each of the wheels will be moving, I mean will be what to say, acting towards this. That is frictional force we have already seen, it will act against the direction of motion. Okay, so vehicle is moving towards outer side, frictional force will be bringing, I mean will be restoring the vehicle back. Okay, so therefore for each wheel the frictional forces Fa and Fb I have marked it as. Okay, then you have the self weight, and also for each wheel you have the normal force, that is here it is represented by capital R suffix capital A and capital R suffix capital B. Okay, Ra and Rb we can see here, and you can see I have shaded some areas, right? Under each wheel A and B I have shaded areas. So what does that shaded area means? It shows the pressure of the wheels under the inner and the, I mean along the inner and the outer wheels. Okay, so you can see this is the outer side of the curve, right? So you can see the outer wheel of the vehicle, it has got a very high pressure when compared to that of wheel A. Okay, so that's what it is meant. Now we are going to equate the horizontal and the vertical forces. Now which and all are the vertical forces here? You have W, self weight, correct? You have Ra and Rb, correct or not? Okay, so these are the vertical forces. So I can just equate it as W is equal to, yeah, W is equal to Ra plus Rb. Okay, I've just equated, you can see here I've written it here. Then what are the horizontal forces? You have P and then you have Fa and Fb. So P is equal to, since they are in both opposite directions, P is equal to Fa plus Fb. Now we have studied the frictional force, we have studied, right? When we were discussing, we had told that the frictional force is generally calculated like the coefficient of friction times the normal force. Okay, so the coefficient of friction here, it is taken it as small f, and what is the normal force for each of the wheels? For each of the wheels we are calculating the frictional force here. Okay, not for the entire vehicle, for each of the wheels we are calculating here. So for wheel A it will be F times capital Ra, and for wheel B it will be F times capital Rb. That is nothing but for Fa, frictional force A will be coefficient of friction times the reaction, I mean normal reaction force, normal force. Okay, so we have derived two equations for when we have equated the horizontal and the vertical components, right? So now this Fa and Fb, I'm just expanding it to F times Ra and F times Rb, because frictional force we know. Now what am I doing? I'm just taking the F common, so such that it becomes Ra plus Rb. Now we know Ra plus Rb, we know we see this equation, W is equal to Ra plus Rb. So can we substitute instead of Ra plus Rb as W? That's what I have done it here. You can see here. So what happens now? I'm going to bring the W towards this left hand side. So such that this is my centrifugal ratio. Okay, so same scenario, there is a danger of lateral skidding happening when the centrifugal ratio is equal to the frictional force, I mean frictional coefficient, not force. When it is equal to the frictional coefficient, the centrifugal ratio, okay, so without by mistake I had written it as centrifugal force, it is a centrifugal ratio. So therefore the centrifugal ratio, it must be always lesser than the frictional coefficient. So here one more important point which I want to stress here is the frictional coefficient which we are going to deal here is nothing but the coefficient of the lateral friction. Okay, so in SSD we had dealt with the coefficient of the longitudinal friction. See in SSD, I'll just tell you, in side distance what happens, you are going to see the obstruction in front of you, right? Ahead of you, you are going to see the obstruction. So when you see that, you just brake your vehicle, stop the vehicle, right? You try to stop your vehicle. So the friction required there will be, so what is happening to the vehicle? The vehicle is tend to move forward longitudinally. So the friction used there will be longitudinal friction, that is which is equal to 0.35. Very, very important. And here in this case, what is happening in this, I mean in this, which one? This yeah, stability analysis, or in the case of horizontal curve, what is happening to the vehicle? The vehicle is moving laterally, right? In the case of skidding or in the case of horizontal, I mean, in the case of overturning, the vehicle is moving laterally. So the friction considered here will be the coefficient of the lateral friction. So that will be, the value will be 0.15. Okay, make a note of it, don't make mistakes. Sometimes they'll not give it in the question. You'll have to assume and solve it. So in the case of side distance, the frictional coefficient used will be the longitudinal frictional coefficient, and in the case of uh, horizontal curves, the friction used will be the coefficient of lateral friction, that is 0.15. Longitudinal frictional coefficient will be 0.35. Okay, so here it is 0.15. So these are the two scenarios which we had seen based on the centrifugal, that is based on the effects of the centrifugal force, that is the transverse skidding and the overturning. So next is what we are going to see is nothing but the super elevation. Okay, so you know what is super elevation, you would have heard of it, right? Have you heard of it? I don't know. So see, mainly to counteract the effect of this centrifugal force. What do you mean by counteract? Mainly to oppose it or mainly to balance it or whatever it is. Okay, yeah, you're going to provide the, so in order to counteract the effect of the centrifugal force and to reduce the tendency of overturning and lateral skidding, what are you going to do? You're going to raise the outer edge of the pavement, okay, of the horizontal curve. In an horizontal curve, you're going to raise the outer edge of the pavement with respect to the inner. You can see here only the outer edge of the pavement is raised. Okay, so that is called as the, so what happens when you raise, when the outer edge of the pavement is is raised with respect to the inner edge? Okay, there is a transverse, you can see here there is a transverse slope, right? You can see the slope. So that is called as the super elevation or cant or banking. Understood? See here, now this is the vehicle. Okay, so the vehicle, you can see when the vehicle is traversing this horizontal, this is the curve, right? Circular curve or horizontal curve, the centrifugal force is pulling the vehicle outwards. What is happening now, when because of super elevation? Yeah, this is super elevation force is pulling the side, so such that what is happening, there is no overturning or no lateral skidding. Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry, the lateral, the friction forces restoring the centrifugal force, it is opposed by the centrifugal force, right? So what happens is that in order to avoid the overturning and skidding, what do, you just raise the outer edge of the pavement. Okay, so such that there will be a transverse slope provided to the pavement surface, which is called as the super elevation or cant or banking. Got it? You can see here. See, the centrifugal forces pulling the vehicle outwards and the frictional forces pulling inside. Okay, so in order to counteract the lateral and overturning, skidding and overturning, you are going to raise the outer edge of the pavement. See, this is super elevation. You can see here. This is the slope. Can you see? You have raised the outer edge of the pavement now, right? With respect to the inner. So there is a slope provided. You can see the inclination right here, right? You can see the angle. That transverse inclination or the transverse slope is called as the super elevation. Is it clear now? There is an inclination coming. There is a slope coming, acting. So that is called as the super elevation. Okay, so therefore it is a slope, transverse slope. Okay, so now we'll see, yeah, so whatever I have said, I have written it here. You can see here. Now we are just going to just derive a small expression. Just to, that is the, yeah, I'll tell you what it is. Okay, so you can see the vehicle here, right? So this is the, I have not written here, this is the inner side of the curve. This is the outer edge, outer side of the curve. So this is the vehicle standing on the curve. You have seen here, right? You had seen here. Yeah, maybe like this. Okay, so and this is the center of gravity of the vehicle, you know that. So the self weight is acting downwards. Okay, so this is W, and centrifugal force is pulling the vehicle outwards, which is capital P. Now you can see this is the outer edge of the payment. I mean, I said this was you can see the dotted line. That was the original position of the payment. But what happened? You had provided a super elevation. That is, you have raised the payment, I mean, outer edge of the payment. So that height, I'm going to take it as capital E. Okay, so you should remember this formula. It's very, very important. Okay, so capital E is nothing but the outer edge of the payment, and B is nothing but the capital B. You can see here I marked there. That is the width of the payment. And you can see I've told you there is a slope, right? That is the super elevation theta. Okay, so now what we are going to do is I'm just going to find the expression for the outer edge of the payment. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is the super elevation, generally it will be denoted by small e. Okay, small e means that is super elevation. So generally I'm just going to take it as tan theta, which is approximated again to sine theta. So what will be sine theta from this triangle? This is theta with respect to the horizontal, right? So what is sine theta? Opposite by hypotenuse, correct? So what is my opposite side? E, capital E. What is my hypotenuse? That is my B. Okay, E by B. Okay, they have just taken it and approximate, the tan theta is approximated to sine theta, and they've derived the expression. So my super elevation, I mean, from this I can find out my outer edge of the payment, that is capital E. Capital E will be B times E. Is that clear? Okay, so this is the small derivation. Now actually we are going to derive the expression for the super elevation. Okay, so for analysis of super elevation, we'll have to take into account a lot of forces. Like you already, whatever we have seen, the same thing. Okay. Now, as of now, we will be seeing the, you can see the vehicle is on the I mean, on the raised portion of the payment. Okay, so we are going to derive the actual expression for the super elevation. For that, we are going to take into account certain forces like centrifugal force. You know, the expression is WV square by GR. That is, here V is in meter per second, very, very important. R is the radius of the curve. Okay, that is in meters. I think I have discussed all this. Weight of the vehicle is W. Then frictional force, there will be frictional force developed between the wheels and the pavement surface. Now we are going to see the analysis. It's very, very, very important. Okay, again I'm telling you, this is the expression which we are going to derive for super elevation. So one second.